Yeah, I'm like, whoa, that is blurry. That is blurry. Let's see. That. All right. Share this a little bit. If anyone's watching, or if anyone is there, yeah, let me know if the audio is okay. If there's no echo, try to play some music in the background because it's going to get too quiet. All right. Audio's muffled. Okay. Now, is the audio better now? Let me stop the background music. Okay. There's no echo from the music, right? All right. Let me know if there's an echo. No, you're good. Okay. Awesome. Hey, Dan. Thanks for hopping on. Um, I'm doing this live, but I just want to do a hyperlapse video out of it later. So I started working on this PSC on MCCW stock because I saw this panel in, I can't remember the name of the book. I was just wrapping some stuff and I was going to use this wrapping paper. I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. A nice painting look. So I started drawing it and I was like, hey, you know what? Let me record it. So I did start drawing it. As you can see, the base is there. I'm hoping to do rough pencils in about 10 minutes, then tape it off and start painting. I work really slow, so this is kind of a test for myself to work a little faster. And I know a couple of people mentioned that they'd like to see how the sausage is made. So let's make some sausage. I'll turn off the notifications. So you can see the, and I'll do a tutorial on how to draw from pictures and panels. I mean, there's different ways of doing it. I mean, at the end of the day, you could just straight out and trace it or project it or carbon transfer or whatever. For something like this, sometimes I could just look at it and draw it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just sort of blocking in where the darkest areas are going to be just in pencil, and then I'll ink it and take it from there. Using the reference pretty tightly at this point to get the base lighting. But once I get my blacks locked in, I'm going to go fly solo to my own thing with it. We'll just keep the general look. I mean, the process is the same whether I'm doing original, recreation, or homage, or whatever it is. Just get the pencils in, block in the darks, a little loose. Doesn't need to be. Anything too crazy. It's just really a matter of identifying and defining where the darkest areas are. Audio funny, Chris. Let me know. Is it better now? So I have a feeling that the Rusty. I have a feeling that the mic's picking up the music, which kind of sucks. Yeah, it's better without the music. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play the music in my headphones so I don't go cuckoo, and then that way you guys won't hear it. Hopefully, just the humming of the air conditioner is gonna drive me nuts if that's all I'm listening to. In terms of supplies, this is just like a basic zero point 0.5 big pencil, nothing special. I don't really use a lot of fancy supplies. Supplies um, don't necessarily make a difference. Did I go to art school? I did a long time ago. Um, I went to visual arts program high school, so the whole focus was obviously visual arts. But then when I started my post-secondary education, I went into digital, so didn't really go crazy on the arts. And it's just because I didn't really have the call it support system from my teachers and guidance counselors to pursue a career in the visual arts. So then I stopped drawing for a very long time, focused on digital stuff, and then just can see the panel here, kind of easier. Um, yeah, so I didn't draw or paint for the longest time. I was just doing digital stuff, and I found myself spending way too much time on the computer a few years ago, actually more than a few years ago now. And decided I need to pick up drawing again because it's very relaxing for me, anyways, not for everyone. So kind of came back into it, and here we are. Thanks, Chris. I don't know if I'll get into my rant about talent versus practice right now, but I think that drawing, like anything, is really a learned skill, and it just takes practice. And then there is a talent component to it. Well, I guess I am getting into it. There is a talent component to it, but the talent, the way I look at it, is really just the ability of to pick things up faster. So just like working out or anything physical, anybody can learn, anybody can build muscle and get a nice like beach body or whatever you want to call it. Certain people are probably going to be a little bit more physically toned to do it faster or get bigger. But at the end of the day, anybody can lift weights on a regular schedule, see results, lose weight, get shredded, whatever it is. Talent equals ease of attunement to a particular craft. Exactly. That's what it is. A lot of people say like, oh, you have a natural gift for X, Y, Z. That's why you're doing it at the level that you're doing it. And I won't do it because I'm not naturally inclined to do it. I don't subscribe to that thought process. Okay, so that's basically as tight as I need to get my pencils. And like I said, just blocking in the main areas. I'm going to go and ink it. But what I like to do as much as I can with cards is tape off the edges. It keeps it from buckling. So that's why you see I have my little 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch, I don't know, whatever that this distance is here. I'm going to tape this to a piece of cardboard in a second. The only thing I want to do first is I'm going to use, what is this, like light gray fine liner to outline where I'm going to have the highlights in the eye, or the smoky glowy stuff in the eye, because that part I don't really want to outline in black because I don't want a black edge to it. So I'm just going to do it in gray so I don't lose it. Add some jagged lines. Everybody likes jagged lines. So this is more about the painting part, not the drawing. I would like to do more videos and tutorials and stuff like that, just if time permits. But if there's something specific anybody wants to know, please let me know. DM me, drop it in the comments, and I'll try to make time for it. So again, nothing special. This is a piece of an Amazon packing box. I'll put my card down. And I use dollar store masking tape. It's not very tacky, which is perfect. I try to use the artist quality art masking tape, and I don't like it. So I use cheap stuff. Just try to tape it down, keeping it straight with my lines. And if you do have tape that's a little too tacky, if you find that it's tearing the paper when you take it off, one thing you can do to soften it is just tear up your sheet, put on your desk, which is off camera, take it off. It will lose some of its tackiness right away. And then lay it back down. So the reason I like to do this, these borders is, well, there's two reasons for it. One, I use paint, so it's a wet medium. When paper gets wet, it's going to curl. So this will keep it from curling as much. And then the other thing is I like to varnish my cards. And it's a lot easier to varnish the card when it's taped down, because they could just go crazy with the brush without worrying about getting varnish on the edges or having it seep through underneath or anything like that. And then lastly, because all the lines are in pencil, once it's all done, I'll take it off. The tape's going to pick up some of the pencil lines, but it should have a nice clean white frame. So I'm just going to press it down. There we go. So I have my guy here. I'm going to put it off to the side because once I block in all the blacks, which I'm going to do now with another fine liner, we're going to go to paint, and I don't really need the reference anymore. I really just need the reference for the general shape. Oh, sorry. I forgot that was my other gray. The symbiote is also going to glow, so I don't want black edges on him. You can see there's a little up arrow here. That's just a pencil. I put it on there so I know which way is up on the card. Because with these particular blanks, there's no branding on the front, which is great. But I don't want to do the drawing upside down. Because if somebody does end up purchasing it, some people are very particular about stuff like that, having the cards facing the right way. So literally just going over my pencils, and this is a .1 fine liner, just to get the edges, and then I'll fill in the larger areas with a thicker one or a brush pen. Another way to do the blacks, which gives a much more organic look and feel, is doing it with a brush with actual black paint, or acrylic inks or India ink or whatever you like. But that takes longer, and I don't want to spend 4 hours on a stream. So I'm trying to do this the quickest way possible. I'm trying to keep it as loose as I can. It'll go well with the general look and feel of this. I don't know which iteration of Venom this is, but it's a cool one. And I also need to look up who did the original art to make sure I credit. Because very important, if you're copying somebody's work or referencing somebody's work, to credit the source. I see way too many people that don't do that. And it's not cool. In my opinion, anyways. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion on this. Just something that's so prevalent in the sketch card wow. In the sketch card space. Wow, I can't speak. I'll black that in after. Croissant, le croissant. What's up, Warner? I'm sure a lot of people are at work, but it's a long weekend up here in Canada. It's called Victoria Day, also known as May 24, because that's when people grab their 24-pack of beer and head to the cottage. And this part's not very exciting. To be honest, I'm not sure how much of this is exciting, but needs to get done. I did the glow in the eyes and the gray, so I don't need to touch that. Another reason why I like to tape the cards down to a piece of cardboard is, as you can see, there's a lot of turning and stuff. That way I don't really need to touch the card. It gives me a larger area to futz around with, and kind of keeps the card protected. So I tried as much as possible not to lean or put my hand down on the actual card. I didn't black out where the teeth are, so I'll just do that now. This is the duck face version of Venom. A lot of people draw. Yeah, you'd like me to touch that card, don't you, Gordon? Touch it. Touch it in all the right places. There's different, different artists do different looks to Venom. I find a lot of them do this kind of duck face looking version. Not necessarily my favorite. When I draw Venom OA, I don't really do this. I do more of a skull that's it's got a symbiote wrapping over and try to go for more of a horror feel. So I think for the rest of the teeth, I'm just going to use a gray, not black. So it's not as jarring. Some of the blacks in the reference they seem like they're kind of random. So I'm trying to make my own shapes here that would kind of make more sense as to what they're outlining or what part of the head is actually casting a shadow. Hey, Paul, you caught me once. See, I told you I stream sometimes. Not as often as I should. If anyone's watching on Twitch, make sure you go and follow Paul Maitland Art. Super talented chap. And he really likes to show people how the sausage is made. None of this makes sense. That's how it works. Yeah, okay. Nothing makes sense, Gordon. It's just all made up. And oh yes, and of course a drawer of golf clubs. Hey Dale, thanks, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. And so for those just joining in now, what I'm doing is I'm going to do a painted version of this panel from King in Black or Back in Black or whatever. So I'm just blocking in my blacks, and then I'm going to hit it with the paint. Okay, fine, Paul, I take it back. Whatever I said about Paul Maitland, I retract. Except the part where I like to show how the sausage is made. That's very that holds. That'll hold the test of time. Trying to figure out some of these darks here. These are like veins and tendons. Just gonna make up my own. Chris asked a question earlier. Sorry, Chris, I missed your question. What was your question? How does the gray enhance the glow effect? It doesn't enhance the glow effect, but I need an edge to work with so I can see it. And when I slap paint over this, and you'll see, if I want to build out dark values over black, it's very, very easy because the black's already there. But if I want to work with a light area, like the glow in the eyes, I don't want a hard dark edge. So you'll see when I paint over the whole thing, the gray is going to get lost, but I'll still have a little bit of a sense of what's there. So I don't have to try to redraw it later or figure out where it is later. I should actually add a little bit of texture here as well in the grays. Just so that doesn't end up being just a solid solid white mass. Yeah, no problem, Chris. Yeah, if I miss anyone else's question, please tell me again. I'm not looking at the screen as much as I could. And what paints will I be using? Well, Paul, I'm glad you asked. I will be using my favorite brand of dollar store DecoArt acrylics. These are very fluid and dry matte, and then either Liquitex Basics, or I might just stick to this for the whole thing. We'll see. We'll see how I feel and how it's coming together. This is taking too long. So when I'm doing the blacks around the glow, I'm trying not to black right to the edge. So I have a little bit of separation there. Okay, don't do like me and don't use the smallest fine liner to fill in large black areas. That's just a waste of time. I'm going to switch to a bigger nib in a second. I think I have everything blocked off. This is going to be a massive mass, so I'm going to add some highlights. Let's try to follow the shape of the shoulder here. Okay, I think I got all of that in. So now I'm going to switch to Pigma brush, which is a very nice yeah. Yes, Gordon. I keep on using it because I have issues. But now with the brush pen, I can block in these areas. It's a lot simpler, a lot faster, and I can actually get some nice kind of brush strokes because it's a brush tip. The one thing I'll say not to use is a Sharpie. Never use a Sharpie. besides the fact that they are toxic, Sharpie black is not really black. It will bleed, um, meaning that when you wet it or put paint, it will impact the color, like it's going to bleed through. Um, and it has a reddish tint. Yes, do as I say, not as I do. 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 It's tendon here or whatever this is. I don't really like it, but it's already there. What are we on time? Half an hour. Wow. My plan was to get this whole thing done in an hour. We're already seriously behind. Half hour, break out the Sharpie. Sharpie doesn't add that much, like, doesn't save that much time. I mean, you could use like an alcohol marker or Copic. How much time do you generally allot to a sketch? Realistically, anywhere between an hour and a half to like 5-6 hours, depending on how much detail I'm going in. I don't really do sketches because I don't know. I just don't, which is why it takes me so long to get anything done. Sorry, let me rephrase. I don't really do sketches that I'll try to sell. I'll get into packs. I'll try to get those as tight and refined as possible. But realistically, if this was going to be just a sketch, the pencils that you saw before, I probably would have just done that a little tighter and maybe, do some slightly darker and slightly lighter grays just to give it a little bit more definition and call it a day. So that would have been probably half hour. But with a painted piece, even if I do a quick head sketch and then paint it, it's going to take at least an hour. And by quick head sketch, I mean, let's digress, something like this. So if I was going to do let's make it Gambit. I don't remember how his mask goes, something like that. So if I was going to take that and make that into a rough painted sketch, that'll still probably take an hour because now I need to ink it, value, and get some paint down. Okay, distractions. Full piece, yeah. It really depends. I mean, I've spent the longest I spent on something. It was an 11 by 17 multi symbiote painting. I think I spent like 50, 60 hours on it. Took me a year to complete because my schedule was whack. In terms of sketch cards, like fully rendered sketch cards, like commissions, 3 hours easy. Okay, so let me see. Is this good? I think this is good. Well, call me a show off, Gordon. Let's actually grab the. Yeah, that's a long time. I'm slow, Paul. I'm really slow. I don't have a solid process. So I kind of figure stuff out as I'm going along, and I like to experiment a lot. Not in that way, Gordon. So it takes longer. I'm just going to hit this with a blow dryer real quickly to make sure that it's dry before I erase all my pencil lines. I'm going to mute myself for a second. All right, I should be back. Well, I am back. Okay, let's find an eraser. Okay, can't find my eraser, so we're going to use a pencil eraser. And I just want to get rid of. And this is Palomino Blackwig 602. I went and bought a box of these because all these artists are like, "Oh my god, this is the best pencil you'll ever use." Blah 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 blah. I don't get it, but their eraser is actually really good. So I actually end up just not really using them. They're here when I need a pencil, but I'm not going out of my way to pick up the Palomino. Maybe if I did renders, but even then, graphite renders, it would make more sense. But even then, I like to use the Stadler Lumograph. I can't remember what they're called. They're really dark with no reflections. If anybody's really curious, drop me a message and I'll find an Amazon link. I just can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. They're pretty cheap. You get a set of all the different values for like $10. All right, so here we are on this. So if I look at the general color scheme here, it's really the blue and purple and Venom, the red background, and then the pink orange glow. So for the base, I'm going to give everything a pink pink glow. Did I forget a line here? Which is going to essentially be the glowing symbiote symbol. No, I did not blow dry on screen, Gordon. I took it off screen. But if you don't believe me, here's the blow dryer, Revlon. Because I'm worth it. And you're worth it too, Gordon. Yeah, so I'm going to do a light pink orangish layer over the whole thing. And that's going to give me a unified kind of glow to the entire piece. It's already going to start shifting the blacks from black to a little bit of a warmer black. And then that should pretty much be the only thing I need to do on the eyes and the crest here. And then I'm going to start working on the teeth and the symbiote, which is going to be blue and black mixed in. So for palette, I use takeout container lids. This is from my favorite Thai place. They make a really spicy shrimp. And I'm going to mix in some deep red, again, dollar store paint with a little bit of bright yellow and just water. So do that here. Lay down some red. That's way too much, but it doesn't matter. Lay down some yellow off to the side. I have a little squirty water bottle. I like to mist the paint. It'll keep it a little workable a little bit longer. And I'm going to take a crappy abused brush that's really messed up, because it doesn't matter, and use that to blend my two colors together. And I'm just going to add water. Grab a scrap piece of paper here. To see what that looks like and make sure I have a nice consistency. I'm okay with that. It's a little dark, but that's okay. Oh, and then the other piece of equipment is a rag, which is a torn up t-shirt. So now I'm going to grab, this is a number 8 filbert brush, Simply Simons. It's not an expensive brush. They sell the stuff at Walmart. You can get a pack with a bunch of different sizes, including a filbert and a detail brush for like $8. They're pretty good. You don't need to blow all your milk money on brushes. I mean, good brushes do help, but you do need to take care of your brushes. And if you don't really like to maintain and spend time cleaning your brushes, then just get cheap brushes and then throw them out when they're no longer good, or use them for blending like I did with the other one. All right, so I load up my brush, just soak it in there, and try to go in even lines. Over the whole thing. And we'll see right now if there's any bleeding from the inks. How much water do we mix in? There's no real formula. I guess it depends on how many layers you want to do. The more water you have, the more layers you're going to need to do, but the more blending you'll be able to get. Now, one thing that I should note about using water, depending on your paper, like you can see this, see how you're starting to get this orange peel effect there? That's a combination of using water and cheap paints. The water is actually breaking down the pigment of the paint, and it's not laying down evenly. Now, you can work around it or work with it because you just build layers, or use mediums instead of water and higher quality paints. But especially for this part of the piece of the part of the process, it doesn't matter because this is just going to be kind of the under layer. And then I'll go with heavier paint to start bringing out the detail. It's really for the background. And I'm not sure if this thing froze. And it did freeze. No, did it freeze? Is it frozen? Hopefully it's not frozen. We'll find out soon enough. Somebody say something. I'm just going to go on the other way and try to... Oh, good. Okay, thanks, Paul. Ryan Stegman, maybe. I have to pull out the book, and I'll check. All right, so as this is drying, I'm just loading up more red on my brush. I'm just going to go around the edge, try to keep close to the lines that I have in there. And this is just to give a stronger red. And there's definitely less water in this mixture. And for the sake of the background, I'm just going to keep it pretty flat like this. Now, one thing when working really wet, like I'm doing here, you have to be careful not to overwork an area because you're going to pick up the underlying layer. And that's hard to fix. And there's no magic trick to it. It's just something that comes with practice. Kind of get a sense of how wet is too wet. But if you don't have patience, that's why we have blow dryers. So hold, please. And we're back. Oh, one thing. The reason I'm using a filbert brush, and a filbert brush, also known as a cat's tongue, is the kind of rounded tip brush versus a flat brush. And the reason I mostly use the filberts is because they'll blend the edges. So if I, for example, let me show. If I do a stroke with a filbert here, as I'm going over, it's blending the edges and it gives you a little bit of feathering. This is shit paper, so it's really not working well. Now with a hard edge brush, soak it up with paint. You can still blend, but you can see the edges are more defined. Flat brush is really good for hard edges. Feathered, or there's medium on this that's not taking. A filbert brush is really good for blending. Now, not to say that you can't do the same thing with a flat brush, it just takes longer. Did I miss any questions? No. So you mix more for this layer, or this came from the same mix? I just added more red to my mix. So, I mean, there's my original mix, and I just kept on pulling more red to get it redder. But it still has that orange glow underneath from the yellow. Okay, so while that's still drying, what I want to do is get a little bit of a warm gray for the teeth. And the way I like to get my warm gray is to just mix in some black. Again, dollar store black paint with some yellow. So I'm just going to dump my black here. Don't need a lot of it. Where's my shitty brush? Add some water. Let's add mainly yellow. There's some pink in there, doesn't matter. And then slowly add a little bit of black. This has a little bit of a greenish tint, which is great. I like it, but it's definitely way too dark. So I'm just going to add more yellow. Depending on the brand of paint you use, the black may have a blue tint or a green tint. I'm okay with that, but obviously it's too dark, so I'm just going to dab some water there and just get a very, very loose. You can see. There we go. Perfect. Now the mouth is a smaller area, so I'm going to use a smaller brush. Shoot, I think I only have one that's kind of deformed at this point. Oh no, here's another one. So this is a 2/0 Larmon Decor, which is again a cheap brand. So I'm gonna load my brush and start from the dark area. I'm going over everything, including the dark. We add a little bit more pigment. It's not really showing. Yeah. Okay, don't flick your brush into the palette. Or do it. I don't know. There, that's better. Just want to get coverage here. Let that dry. And while that dries, I'm going to mix a little bit for the base. So for the base, I'm going to use Copenhagen blue, which is a dark kind of like denim blue. I really like this blue. This is my go-to. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover everything in a very light, if I can find a better brush. Oh, here I'm going to use a number 6 filbert. This one's actually a more expensive one. This is a $5 brush. Ooh. And all I'm going to do is grab some blue. Make sure I get enough. And just drop a touch of black in there to darken it. Very soft, very light, because we're going to do a lot of layers. And I'm just going to cover everything. The blacks, anything that's not the base color. Well, not base color, that doesn't need to be pink. I'm just trying to keep to paint each area kind of in its own silo. That if I, and the reason I'm doing that, so if I have any edges, they kind of make sense. Because this dries really quick. I did not get enough of a mixture. Are we in time? Okay, almost an hour in. This is going to be longer, definitely longer than I had hoped for. There, I kind of painted a bit into the into the symbiote symbol. So make sure I don't have any of that pink orange showing through anywhere. I could use a smaller brush to do these details, which I think maybe I will in a second. And once I got one layer down, I think this is almost dry here. Let me hit it with the blow dryer because I don't want to wait. Mix up some more paint. Same, more or less idea. Try to mix more this time around. There. Now we're going to do it all over again. But now I can go a little bit more in a more aggressive fashion because I already have a base. You can see right there, I went over the same area twice. So I'm lifting off the paint. So I'm going to avoid that. And I'm going to go with the smaller brush, which is my 2/0. Again, I did not mix enough paint, just so I can do these areas a little cleaner. You get the best detail and render if you use a small brush, but that comes with a price. So be prepared to spend longer on it because obviously you're doing smaller strokes. But this is now the third time I'm going over this to darken even more. And it's just the same thing. My Copenhagen blue mixed with black. And every layer you add, you're going to shift the black into your color. So now I'm being in the third layer. My blacks are starting to look really dark blue. And my lighter areas, my pinks are really starting to look like a light blue. So what we're doing here was really building out mid darks and midtones. So the general local color and a dark, I forget what it's called, but the dark, not the darkest darks, because we're going to come to those later. Thanks, Josh. Um, and a medium dark. Sure I don't miss any areas. So essentially what we're doing is we went from light to dark with the blacks. Sorry, I'm off frame there. And we're going much darker now. And then we're going to go light again. So now this is the fourth layer I'm doing. And I'm progressively using more paint in my mix, just to kind of push the transition faster, because I don't want to be here. Hey, thanks, Chris. Yeah, no problem. It's a long weekend here, so I am at work because I had a bunch of stuff to get done. But I got to draw the line somewhere. Did my Unbound, did some paperwork. Got to have a little bit of fun. Yeah, exactly. Got to take the old art break ball. Yeah, once again, Paul's commenting on Twitch, so not everyone can see his comments. But I'll try to respond to them. It'll be actually kind of interesting to hear Paul's take. He's more of an airbrush dude. I'm sure he's watching me and he's thinking to himself, like, why are you taking so long? Just spray that guy. Spray it. I'm going to put that on the screen. Party's over on Twitch. So I can see in the camera right here, it looks lighter, but it's actually just wetter than the rest of it. So it's also out of focus. That should be better. As it's drying, it'll be a little bit more even. Yeah, I saw that, Paul. Because you're doing that octopus face guy painting. What's his name? From Pirates of the Caribbean. Davy Jones. Yeah, and I think I commented, I was asking the other day, like, how are you going to do the base? But I think you just painted it on in acrylic inks, which is a little bit of a surprise. It's looking good so far. Oh, jeez, don't break it. Okay, that needs to dry a little bit. But while that's drying, I want to add a very light yellow glaze, because this is really what it's called when you're mixing stuff. Yeah, there's yellow mixed with water to this thingy. It's going to start breaking it up from the background. Paul, I'm itching to do oils. Just itching. I just don't have the time to undertake that right now. But I definitely want to explore the world of oil paints more. So while I'm at it, let's do the same thing to the eyes. Let's go with a little bit more paint. Just more pigment. I'm going to highlight, lighten the whole thing after. So just want a real distinct contrast between the background and the eyes. Oh, Jalen Warner on Twitch. It is kind of alchemic. Oh, 4 people watching. Yay, Jalen Warner. What technique were you using? Can't wait for this answer. I think I picked up some red on my brush. And yeah, Paul, for sure, oils are a lot more forgiving than acrylic. But it's just such a different workflow, plus the drying time. All the drying time. All right, so I think this is dry here. It's looking good. So, because I'm just looking at the reference, there's obviously 2 light sources. There's the background, which is giving it this key light, which is a light blue. And then there's this glow from underneath, which is coming from the symbol and whatever else is happening here, which is giving them purple. So I could mix in purple, or I could take my base blue, put some over here, throw in a dash of red to get more of a purple base. And very wet. You can see the difference. Got a little bit of a purple. I'm going to add a purple tint to every plane that's facing the glow. So see anything that's under at the bottom of his chin. It's a very subtle color shift, but it will break up the monotony of the same blue everywhere. And being very rough with it because I'm going to start, whoa, that's too rough, bringing out more highlights and shadows. Do you know, I'll just add more red to this. So at this point, I don't really care about the reference anymore. I got my base in, and now I can get painterly and do whatever I want. I mean, if I wanted to reproduce the panel exactly what it looks like and just keep on trying to do that, but I like to give things a little bit of a spin, be it through texture, through colors. Overall rendering technique and so on. So I'm adding all the purples at the bottom, and then at the top, I'm gonna get a little greenish tint. So I'm gonna mix in my yellow with my base blue. Still want to keep it quite dark. Let's start hitting these highlights at the top. So I'm starting to get a little bit of edge separation between the darks. Let's do the lip as well. I think I lost Gordon. Hopefully he's on his way to Michael's or Walmart to buy all the paints. Hopefully that's noticeable. So I'm going to mix some more purple. Oh no, the white frame then is part of the card because this is a 2.5 by 3.5 card. So it's going to have that. Let me see if I have one. It's going to have that. It's going to have this look. Right. So in this case, it's part of the card. Just because I'm using with a pre-cut, because I'm using a pre-cut card. If I was working on a larger piece, like if I was working on just watercolor paper or acrylic paper or something, I'd just trim the edges after, and then it'll be edge to edge. So I'm adding a stronger purple here. Yeah, this is the this is an MCCW blank. I don't know if that means anything to you. I recognize your name. I just don't can't place you right now. Sorry. So now with less water, more pigment, I'm just slowly building out the highlights. In this case, with purple. And this is where patience comes into play, because the more layers you have patience to do, the lighter hue shifts you're prepared to do, the more depth you're going to get, and the more of that glow um, your painting will have. Brandon Stromberg, back from the ashes. How you been, buddy? I haven't seen you online in a long time. Hope you're doing well. And while that's drawing there, I'm gonna go my light blue, which is actually a blue with yellow. It's actually more of a green. And now I have to go to the tiny brush. So this is 10/0. This is one's actually abused, so the tip's really not that fine. But it will do for this one. So I can start adding even more highlights here. I'm glad to hear, Brandon. I'm good. I'm just keeping busy. I'm trying to keep sane, avoid getting stabby with people, and try to push as much paint as I can. Because pushing paint is important. Paul asked the question. You working on any sets? No, Paul, I am not working on any sets. I am pretty sure I have been shunned from the set world, which I'm okay with. I have a very long list of commissions I need to do, and I would much rather spend my energy on those. Make sure that the collectors are getting the highest quality product I can put out than stressing over set cards and dealing with all the publisher bullshit. So that's a no. That's a no, Paul. Yeah, thanks, man. That the PMG auction that ended yesterday, that escalated quickly. I did not expect it to go where it went, but I'm not mad at it. Um, it's very encouraging to see that level of demand from the community. So, no, the money aside, it's great. Just really happy to see that there was um, and that I have a fan base. Well, it's not really me; it's really Venom has a fan base that's so diehard. Yeah, I saw Paul. I did see DCD collects pop up in my Instagram feed. I think it was actually something you shared, or they did something with you and it popped up. So I started following them. I kind of curious as to what that is. Um, that might be actually a fun thing to do. Um, I'll drop you a note. Maybe you can fill me into what that is and how that works, if you don't mind. And I'm sure Jalen Warner, Art of Jalen Warner, 72564. Yeah, I'll hit you up, Paul, because that does sound interesting. My challenge is going to be time because that's always my challenge. Um, I guess ultimately depends on what the payout is as well. And if they're paying like the same rates as Upper Deck or Tops, I'm not going to be uh, inclined to do that anytime soon. Said I'm rather work on commissions directly. You get a theme, go nuts. Better. Okay. Yeah, I'll hit you up. We'll chat. I don't want to necessarily spill the beans publicly unless you want to do it in the chat. I don't care. All right. So, well, that's drawing. Start pulling up some highlights on the purple side. Hopefully, this is starting to make sense to whoever's watching. I'm just building up. I built out all the values, and now I'm adding highlights with different colors. So everything that's at the top's got the yellow, green. Everything that's at the bottom's got the purple, and just adding the same mixture in layers. So um, it's blending. This is kind of a long hour. Yeah, an hour and a half. Um, I think I'll make it in the 2 hour window, though. Actually, probably not because I'm still futzing around with midtones. I'll run as long as I can, but at some point I need to get my ass home. Yeah, exactly. So back to what I was saying earlier about how long do I spend on a sketch card? Hour and a half, easy. Getting there. Let's get some more yellow. This is actually a really nice exercise in minimalism because I'm only using black, red, yellow, and a touch of sorry, blue, red, yellow, and a touch of black so far. I'll add in white, but for the main highlights at the end. But this is the extent of colors I'm using in this piece right here. Oh, Paul, I do that all the time. Like, be like painting at home, and my wife would be like, "Oh, can you like wash the dishes or run the washer or something?" And be like, "Yeah, just give me 5 minutes to finish this layer." Like 3 hours later, is the laundry done? It's like shit. I haven't even gotten up yet. Now, to lighten my purple, I'm gonna add a touch of yellow to my mixture as well. So it's blue, red, and yellow, which is a little bit more yellow. Might be a little strong, but it's close to the light source. Paul, one of these days, if you're up for it, I'd love to do a stream with you on it. You know Paul Warner. He's done a lot of stuff with Bianca when we were doing um, the sets. It's that guy. Am I still on frame? Yeah, that's how you know I'm Bianca. Do I really want to scare my viewers like that? Yeah, all five of them. Yeah, if you're up for it, I like shooting the shit with other illustrationists, artists, cartoonists, writers, um, whatever, however you like to identify. But no pressure. You can talk shit for hours. Perfect. You and Josh would get along great. All right, let's add a little bit more yellow. That's okay, Paul. I can't type any day. Um, so I don't know what else to say in terms of the tutorial aspect here. I mean, all I'm doing is slowly building up layers of paint um, to add the highlights, maintaining the shadows that were defined in the original ink drawing. That maybe I'll go back with some black a little closer to the end to really bring out some area, like to really darken some areas. But I don't actually think it's necessary. Zeros and ones, Paul, zeros and ones. You know, there's 10 kinds of people on this planet, those that understand binary and those that don't. That joke probably makes more sense written. Are we on 135? I would really, I would really like to get this done on stream. So we'll just power through it. On another note, I did get approved for Whatnot the other day, so I just got to do some setup and some onboarding stuff. So I'm gonna try the Whatnot streaming soon. So this is actually good practice for it. I just don't know what I would be selling, except maybe the piece I'm working on. But if anyone's watching is on Whatnot and wants to get notified when I do get my stuff set up and start doing some live something there, hit me up. It's Dre Studios everywhere. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, I could do sketch covers, Josh, but like it takes so long, right? Or just so um like unless I'm auctioning live things, like live drawings, but like a sketch cover is going to take me like 6 hours to do, and I only have like one that's done, and then eventually I'll have two more when I can get back to them. Pre-made, yeah, I gotta make pre-make covers. Dan's asking, what did you have to show to be a seller as an artist? I showed a stack of sketches, like prelim sketches. I showed a picture of 95 blank sketch covers, and I spread out a bunch of various trading cards I had, like some Star Wars. I have some Star Wars, some Marvel, like some masterpieces, some stuff like that. I just did the three pictures. Um, but then if you want to do the application, hit up Gordon Wills, Art of Gordon Wills on IG or Facebook, and ask him for his affiliate link or his recommendation link, because I got approved in like 12 minutes, and he sent it to somebody else and they did the same thing. So um, apparently, if you go in from a referral, your odds or your timing is greatly improved. And actually, I think both. There might be an affiliate thing there too, where you can get some credits or something. Or if you know anybody else that's approved already on the platform, have them send you the link if you don't want to hit up Gordon. Which company was that? Sorry, Paul, is that question to me? Because that was Whatnot, which is a live auction. It's essentially this, but you can sell stuff live, and people win the auction and pay for it instantly. Once I hit this with the whites, it's going to be so pretty. Paul, I think with Dynamite, you can actually buy your way into it. Like if you pay for the run out of your own pocket, they'll just let you do it. You just need to get the art approved. What does that website like? A stream, maybe more of a social media platform. Yeah, there you go. You should check out Whatnot, Paul. There's potential, especially if you are in the U.S. There's a lot of features that are only available to U.S. buyers and sellers. The most notably one of the new ones is tipping, which I think is going to really push a lot more artists to be there, because I could be doing this on Whatnot, and if people choose to, they could tip me if I was in the U.S. Not saying that I'm asking for tips, but it's an option, and it's not like you need 1,000 followers and 1,200 million hours of view time like on YouTube to be able to monetize or get gifts or stuff like that. Hey Keith, thanks for hopping in, and thank you for the kind words, you dirty, dirty pirate hooker. Oh no, not dirty. I'm so sorry. Smelly pirate hooker, I think, is the proper. Sierra Warner, thanks for hopping in. Get back to work. Time are we at? 1:40. God damn it. Yeah, I try to give you a tip for 5 years. They always shoot me down. Just a tip. Um, is this Aunt Meg's Big Dough for a 5 card wide foot puzzle? No, it's my painted version of this panel. But I know where your head's at. We'll get to your Aunt May foot fetish one day. Foot fetish. Yeah, a lot of people seem to have a foot fetish. I don't know. I'm not here, kink shaming anyone. You do you. You're gonna pass on the foot thing. All right. Feet are hard pass. Feet are hard to do. Ask Liefeld. Can you imagine how much money he would have made if he actually drew feet? Feet. All right. Starting to see the finish line here, folks. I may rush the teeth. 146. Damn it. Okay, bigger brush. I think it's Stegman. It's the King in Black, or like the whole null thing. Um, I don't have the book in reach right now to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's Stegman. That's what Gordon said as well. Okay, let that dry and time to toss in some white. Fifth color, Decor Crafters Acrylic White, $1.50 for 4 fluid ounces. Last you a year. Black Lightning. No, Venom. What's up, Brian? All right, so I'm gonna mix some blue with white to get a really nice white, light blue, and start hitting it with some highlights and going back to the teeny tiny brush. It might actually need to be lighter. Okay. Ooh. And earlier I said I try not to dip my hand in the art, which I just did in the wet yellow here. So I'm just adding highlights. Any cool plans for my birthday? You're looking at it, man. Can live vicariously through my art demo here. I gotta say, at a certain point, I just turned 43, and I think after I turned 30, I was like, this doesn't matter anymore. I'm perfectly content to have a day off and just do whatever. Watch a movie or paint or play with the dog or barbecue, whatever I'm in the mood for. That's really all I ask for these days. The time to do nothing if I choose to. Kid. When I get to that point when you sneeze and pray that you don't pull something. I pulled my hip the other day. It's like, what the hell is this? That's a new kind of pain. Like twisted wrong and then had a hard time walking for a few days. And then I'm mixing purple with white for the highlights on the bottom piece. Might need to go lighter. a little lighter. Almost white, but not pure white. All right. 155. Oh, so close. So close. It's so far. I think I might need to do another layer on the over here. I don't like that texture. Um, but we'll leave that to the very end. It might work out at the end. Hey, Brandon, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Yeah, we'll catch up. I'll DM you. Um, it's been too long, anyways. All right, let's just make this thing glow. Hit it with the white. Fuck is that? Don't rush. This is a combination of white and yellow. Um, I'm going to gradually go lighter towards the center, or with more yellow, more white towards the center of the energy beam or whatever this is coming out of his eyes. Give me more of a gradient. a nice glowing effect. And do the same thing here. A lot less water at this point. Let's try to get even coverage. While that's drying, we'll add more to the eyes. Let that dry, and I'm going to add some highlights to the teeth. Trying to wrap this up in the next 10 minutes. So might be rushing a bit. I hope for anyone's stayed for the whole show that this was at least entertaining, if not educational. Obviously lost Gordon. Oh, jeez. All right, it's a work day for you guys. Are you building it in English or Chinese? Yeah, looks like we're come. The viewers are dropping like flies, which I knew was going to happen. I can't do a 2.5 hour stream and have people stick out through the whole thing, especially when it's at quitting time on a workday. But I am almost done with this. I'll let it dry, and I might just do another layer on the background on the red to make it a little bit more exciting. Or maybe I'll just do a layer of matte varnish and see if that kind of gets rid of the texture. Yeah, doing favors is sometimes more work than doing paid work. I've discovered in my many years of doing web design and development and all that fun jazz. Just adding some yellow to the highlights just to blend the white into the purples and the blues, give it a little bit more depth. And now for the last piece here, let's do an inner an inner glow on the symbiote on his chest. And I think I'm going to call it after that. Thanks to everyone that tuned in. Anyone that's still watching. I'll let this guy dry and see if he needs any touch-ups once the paint is settled. Yeah, you're the only one, Paul. I'm gonna wrap it up in minutes. So once it's dry and all that stuff, so maybe I'll touch up the background, maybe not. Varnish it, and I'm not mad at this, so it'll be available for grabs for anyone that wants him. DM me. Just hit it with a little bit more white in the center of the eyes to really get that glow. What would look really cool in this is spatter. But I don't know if I want to go there right now. Okay, I'm calling it. There's Venom acrylic painting based on a comic panel in 2.5 hours. All right, that's it for me. Yeah, spatter. I'm gonna let it dry and then see if it needs any touch up, and I'm gonna just do a little bit of spatter here, or mask off the face and spatter from here. I don't know. That can wait. That's it for now. Paul, thanks for tuning in. I'll chat with you offline somewhere because I have questions. Everybody else who's watching this later or whenever, have a great day. Smash that like button. Smash it like prom night. I'm out. Have a good one.